Hello, trading is closed on June 29th, 2020. We'll go over our calls. Look for the pattern with the early low. This is it. Tomorrow also has the early low. Had a target of 30.2968. I thought it might not print, but it did, and there was support under the target. I said yesterday's, or rather Friday's pattern was negative. Unless we gapped out this high, lower prices should print. We got lower prices. Obviously, that wasn't a lower price that held, but it certainly was enough to satisfy the pattern. Frankly, I would expect more most of the time, and that may still happen. During the day early on, MEJT gave a buy signal, an ultimate buy signal, but it also gave a lower optional target that will undercut this line. If it doesn't print by tomorrow, we forget it. The afternoon said this rally would retrace and that this drop was false and would retrace. We rallied all day long with 5 minutes left to go. Couldn't clear these highs. That's negative. We did clear them at the end. You know I'm not a big fan of walls into the close. Tends not to represent purchases by institutions. Tends to represent public traders who either are covering shorts or are able to go long at the last minute and push prices up simply because you don't have professionals taking the other side of the trade. A lot of times these walls into the close will gap down even though futures are up now. There's also an optional target for tomorrow, 30.1741. Now, it doesn't print 100% of the time. The other targets, they're going to print well over 99.5% of the time. But these will print 95% of the time the next day. 5% of the time it just won't be seen. And I think if this one prints, it should be early. Here's the general pattern. I think it's negative that we broke through. Wouldn't change anything if we retraced up to the blue line. Tuesday has the early low, doesn't mean you won't gap up. Unless there's early weakness, day tends to be positive with a high in the final hour. Early weakness typically leads to more weakness in the days to come. I have a lower target, but it's optional. Only prints 95% of the time. Without early weakness, first hour or two probably won't print at all. If it doesn't print early and tomorrow, we just forget it. In addition to the normally bullish pattern, Independence Week is almost always positive. These are just the put-to-call ratio, equity-only put-to-call ratio, NASDAQ McClellan Oscillator. They're all at Bollinger Band extremes, compatible with a low if they reverse from here. So the best I can come up with is, unless we drop sizably and early, tomorrow's likely to trend up. But the intermediate picture still remains compatible with us being in the early stages of a sizable drop. Now, Norm Winsky was on earlier today. He tells me there is a lunar eclipse this weekend. He says, don't invite a lunar eclipse and a pull move to the same party. They don't get along with each other. So even if we get a rally this week, I still think we're close to a sizable drop. We just might have to wait until next week. And that's a might. It isn't a lock. So tomorrow's early trade is critical. If we avoid a big drop early, we can get a rally, but there's still, in spite of futures being up, 95% chance we see this price. So a big drop early can't be ruled out. And that's today's call.